higher divine beings, okay? It's an intrinsic part of the spirit world and the spirit-human relations, okay? They're an intrinsic part of that, in that way. What else did I put here on the sign? Okay, there is one more thing I wanted to say. This could lead into its entire own video, but it is kind of the last thing that came to me on this topic to share with you all. If you look at, let's look at the topic of spiritual warfare in this regard, okay? Think of it more like war games, okay? If you know what war games are, it's like not really, it's not a real war, it's a mock-up war, okay? It's a type of test, okay? That's how you need to look at this as well. If you look at the grimoire traditions where they have the binding of spirits, there's a big emphasis on binding the demons. There's a big emphasis on commanding and compelling the demons. There's a big emphasis on threatening the demons. There's a big emphasis on cursing the demons. If it comes to that. And it is a form of spiritual warfare. It is a form of this war game type relationship and process going on there. And it's basically to teach you as the witch or as the magician that you do have the upper hand, that you do have the authority to command the spirits. You know, if you want to, if you need to, if they're challenging you and putting forth, you know, they're serving their role as a guardian, but in so doing, they are doing malevolent things to you because that's necessary. That's how they have to function, to protect the power, to protect the wisdom from the profane, from those who don't deserve it or have not earned it, okay? From those who are not of the right spiritual consistency. Okay, from those who lack the inner power or the capacity for the inner power, from that capacity of the inner authority. Okay, you know, the ultimate goal of all of magic is adeptship and mastery, and that is sort of becoming, you know, your own God, your own authority, and that is that authority to command spirits and to command even gods and goddesses. If you look at the stories of Circe and Medea in the Greek mythology, these are witches who bound gods in their spell work. They bound the goddess of the moon, or they bound other different deities, the sun, the moon, and the earth, the deities of the sun, the moon, and the earth, to their spell work. They compelled the deities by their own spells. And this is very important, okay? This is also taught in the Magic of Aleister Crowley. If you look into his teachings, he talks about the magician is the supreme being over even gods and goddesses. And you're not supposed to be subservient to them. And I talked about this years ago in my video, The True Power of the Witch. This is also talked about in the book Aradia, The Gospel of the Witches. There's a magical system in that, and a magical mythology of the witch threatening demons, threatening different gods and spirits, if need be, you know, not necessarily doing it every single time, but if need be, if they're being rebellious, if they're not doing what you want, that you can command them, you can threaten them, you can curse them, okay? You don't have to think about curses only in terms of cursing other people when they do you wrong. You can curse gods, you can curse spirits. This is also in the Greek magical papyri, or the PGM. Cursing, threatening, even creating entire like phylactery boxes where you put the demon sigil in there, or the spirit sigil in there, and you basically threaten to torture it if it does not do your bidding, if it's not being cooperative with you. This is spiritual warfare, but it is also just war games, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the magician is supposed to be the one that is in control. Because it's a relationship, you should still respect the spirits, but you need to make sure that they're also respecting you. And, you know, there's a sort of psychological warfare going on there with the spirits, because a lot of spirits will try to trick you to be subservient to them. You have to make sure that you are making sure it's a healthy relationship. And if you allow a spirit, or, you know, some spirits, not all of them are like this, but some demons and spirits will try to put you beneath them and subservient to them. You have to make sure that you have the right mindset. And also, this is just important on the subject that I'm covering in general, you know, with demons challenging you and serving in their function as guardians. They're supposed to do that. But also, too, you know, you're supposed to overcome those challenges. And it could get to the level where you have to battle these spirits in some sort of a way to get them to stop their malevolence, and to prove to them that you do have that power and authority within you to do that sort of thing. So you can curse spirits, you can threaten them, you can bind spirits, you can trap them, and different things like that. You know, once again, if it comes to that, I'm not telling you to just go out and automatically do that, like it is sort of kind of portrayed in the grimoire traditions or in the Goetia. You know, they kind of do portray it like that, but not really. If you really read it correctly, they're not telling you to just go out and do that automatically every time you conjure the spirits. They're saying, if it comes to this point, bind them. If it comes to this point, you know, threaten to curse them, or do curse them until they comply, if it gets to that point. Okay? So that's important as well, and I did want to include that. You do have the authority, but there's not necessarily anything wrong with demons. There's not necessarily anything wrong with them doing malevolent things to other people or to you. They're serving a role. They're doing it for a reason, okay? However, you know, it's a test. They're vetting out the unworthy from the worthy. They're vetting out the profane from the worthy. So, you know, you have to decide where you're going to fall on that line. You can cower in fear of demons and just be afraid of them. And, you know, you're not going to pass their tests. And they might keep torturing you with that, you know, whatever it is that they're doing. Or you can pass the test. You can confront them. You can challenge them. And you can do whatever it takes to get to that point to where you overcome and defeat their challenges. And, you know, in the process, you win that loot, okay? So, you know, and at the end of the day, too, at that point, you know, they will become your allies in the end as well. They will become your familiars, your servitors, and all of that as well in the end. So it's not really like a defeat, like a real war, where you just defeat an enemy absolutely, and, you know, that's it. It's more of like a wrestling battle, and you win, and then at the end of the day, everyone shares a beer, and you're friends now. It's that type of, that's why I'm calling it more like a war game than actual warfare, because it is just a function that they're playing a role, okay? They're not really evil. They are guardians of this energy and of this power and of these secrets, and you need to understand that if you're ever going to deal with them in the right way. You know, once again, though, there are some demons that will try to trick you and get the upper hand on you. You know, demons are very much, they have free will just like humans. So some of them will get along with certain people and not get along with others. Just like you have people that you love and then you have people that you can't stand. Demons view humans in that way. Some of them they like, some of them they can't stand. And it depends on, you know, the sympathies that we share. You know, those type of things. And most, you know, often demons can't stand the profane. They can't stand the weakness and the cowards. They like people who have courage and who have that inner authority and have that inner power. And you know, they resonate with more with those type of people because demons have power. They have authority. So you have to understand that from that level too. But before I start ranting and just, I could probably talk about this, but I'll just be repeating myself for a long time. So that's basically the main points I wanted to cover with this, and I just really did want to share that. I don't know why I felt compelled to share this information. I did just channel it last night, but I knew that this was a message, not necessarily for me, because I sort of already knew all of this, but the way it was worded and stuff, I knew that this was something I was supposed to be putting out on a video and sharing with more so, you know, beginners or even more, you know, advanced practitioners who maybe are not viewing it correctly. As how it should be, because I know that there is a lot of magical practitioners who talk down on the grimoire traditions of threatening and compelling spirits and stuff like that. But once again, if you read the grimoires correctly, you know, they don't just tell you to automatically go in like that. You know, they tell you if it gets to that point, if the spirits are being rebellious, or even if they're doing negative things to you. If it gets to that point, that's when you do need to do that, or it will get out of hand and the demons will, you know, go to town on you if they want. So, yes. That's the topic of this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned some things. I hope that this made you start thinking about things in a different way, or with a higher perspective, and sort of gave you some insight into the world of demons and how they actually function, what their roles actually are, and all of that, and your power as well. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. I'll be happy to address, you know, them if I think that they're valuable and people can benefit from it. And you know, if you want to get spell work or anything like that from me, just contact me through the methods below in the description box, through my email, my Facebook, or my Instagram, and we can discuss all of that good stuff. Yes. Look forward to more topics and more videos coming up. I will continue with my tarot readings next week. And that's going to be it for this video. So thanks for watching. Hail to the witches, hail Hecate, and blessed be.